On July 15th of 2013, on a Monday morning, about 10 a.m., as best we can tell, my 19-year-old daughter, Jessie, was sleeping in her own bed in our house in Hartford, about a half an hour from here, when her friend let himself in our house, made his way up to her bedroom. Joy and I were at work, and he attacked her, and he hogtied her, and he gag-balled her, and he took duct tape and taped the gag ball tight around her face and head, and then he sexually assaulted her. And when he was done, he grabbed his backpack, his murder kit, and he pulled a rope out of it, and he put it around Jessie's neck, and he pulled with everything he had for at least a minute, until he watched the life and the light flicker out of Jessie's eyes.
For Buck to be able to come up and share that story, I'm not sure if I could, if it were my daughter. I'm not sure if I could if it were my sister. For him to be able to do that, I think brings a lot of hope for people, brings a lot of hope for our students. Really, unless we start talking about this, unless we start the dialogue, it's going to continue the way it has. So for Buck to be able to be generous enough to come in and do this, I think it's worth any high school student listening to.
This is Jessie on her bedroom floor about 3 hours after Dan stole her from us. This is Jessie on her bedroom floor about 5 minutes after the EMTs gave up on her. And this is Jessie on her bedroom floor right about exactly the time she stopped being my daughter and started being evidence in a crime case.
From the silence in the middle of the presentation, they really knew that it was something that they needed to hear and something that they needed to do about it. And so I think that was really powerful. I think some of the female students we had really had a negative kind of reaction to it, but I think that's ultimately going to be a positive thing because it brings to light what we need to talk about at school and definitely making sure that they have the right resources.
Some of your futures have been stolen from you, but you still have life and you can grab them back because nobody has power over you forever. You know, we're from different worlds, me and these kids, and we're from different eras, me and these kids, and about 10 of them came up after and put out their hand, and then we pulled each other in for a hug, and all barriers are gone. I promise to never, ever hit, hurt, or otherwise harm a woman, girl, or child.
I would really encourage schools to have Buck come in, especially high schools. Have him come in to share what happened to him, share what happened to his family, share what happened to his daughter. Because at the end of the day, we don't want this to happen anymore. And Buck's message is certainly very emotional in the beginning, but then turns to one of hope.
We need to add more love to this world.
And if this happens to you, what can you do? If you know someone it's happened to, how can you support them? I think it's really, really important for our kids to hear that because more than likely they'll play a factor in some sexual violence, whether it happens to them or whether they know someone that it happens to. So I think it's important for them to hear the message.
Nothing's impossible.
I thought it was a very emotional presentation, but it ended on a really positive note, and a call to action was really important for our students to make sure that they knew that there's something that they could do about it. And it wasn't just a depressing thing that we need to know about, but it's also something that we can take a good lesson from and learn from and make sure that we're doing the positive thing and learning from it.